Sigma 40k Whole World Super Blade. Only the Kitbashing, master of all four elements, could combine them into one.
Welcome to episode 2 of Hobby Hangout, the monthly-ish roundup of everything that we've managed to achieve as a team, that is the 6++ team. You're mostly going to see content from myself and Lewis, however this month we are joined by Tom. Tom has been inspired and you will see a test model for a new army that he's looking at picking up. Tom is very much like myself and once he's committed to an army, I think is fairly good at committing to it, but in the lead up to getting committed to an army, has the wandering eye, where you look at everything else and go, that does look more fun than what I'm doing right now. So, without further ado, let's hear from Tom.
Hello guys, Tom here, and I am back in the old world hunt in quest for the hobby. I have been on a new project because I think I've been thinking over the armies and how I want to approach the kind of release cycle for old world. What I realise is that beastmen are pretty strong, pretty good, but will also have their own book coming down the line, so I can afford to take my time with beastmen. And I wanted to have a look at some of the other armies because I was drawn over the last few months towards the Dark Elves. Obviously, I'm a Jakari player in 40k. I love the Dark Elves. I've never had the opportunity to play them in fantasy. So I thought this would be a really fun way to have a go. It's a slightly smaller, more sort of pared back set of rules because it's one of the sort of legacy factions, but I was really curious about it and about making it work, and also I quite like the appeal of a smaller, more elite sort of elfy army to get me started as I learn the game. So I've included my first model. It's a Cold One Knight, elves riding dinosaurs. Who doesn't love that? And I've gone for a scheme building on the sort of Cult of Pleasure, K-Knight cults, which use a more sort of vibrant pinky purple. I've gone with Doomfire Magenta on the shields and the cloaks here, and a nice bright vivid Cold One using Striking Scorpion green and a moot green sort of layer of dry brush over the top. And for the armours, I want these to be quite dark and grimy, so I've got metals and then sort of dirty down rust over the top to give it a rusty look, and little bits of sort of blood for the blood god sort of spattered in there as well. And an Incubi Dark Lance on the top, so I'll use Incubi Darkness with a kind of cad-like green edging. So a few tricks from my Drakari paint schemes mixed in with a bunch of the new sort of contrast stuff I'm really interested in and enjoying these days as well. So I think I'm excited to see where I go with the Dark Elves. It looks like the cavalry in particular is very fun. I like Cold One Knights. I like the look of Dark Riders. Definitely going to have to get myself a Dreadlord on a dragon and a sorceress to run around doing some magic, and then lots of crossbows. Feels like a sensible place to start. Maybe some Blackguard, an Assassin, some Witch Elves, all sorts of stuff. So I'm just starting to build up my collection. Got a few models coming in, and I will be gradually adding those, with the goal being to play the Dark Elves at an Old World event sometime later this year, and have a few drubbings as I learn the game as well at the hands of Ed Lewis and some of our more experienced Old World players. So hopefully I'll be able to get my sort of gameplay together enough to do a back rep with Ed in the future, or Lewis, and I'll keep you updated on that journey. In the meantime, let me know, how do I play Dark Elves, guys? I don't know how to play this game. What's good? What's popping? How do I make them work? Please let me know in the comments. See you later. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my Quest for the Hobby update for May. I have been working on a lot more of the vampire counts. I'm going to be focusing on them really over the summer, so really want to get that army up to 2,000 points as soon as I can, so I can start going to a few events. I've booked some events later in the year, so I do now have a hard deadline, which sometimes you need to get everything done. So first up, finished the Terrorgheist at last. So it's non-Games Workshop model, obviously, as I've talked about before. It's a 3D printed one. I just absolutely fell in love with the pose, and I really love the second head as well. I think it's really quite cool, and I think the model just really evokes that fear of what is a properly terrifying monster to face on the battlefield. Got another 5 skeletons done. As promised, I did say I was going to start moving on to onto more of the horde, and not just get distracted by the big monsters. I'm now up to 27 finished skeletons, so I think I need about sort of 50, 60 odd for the army, depending on what kind of variation I go with. So we're almost halfway. I've got another 5 on the painting table now. They've been sprayed and first couple of base coats on. So I will hopefully have another 5 done soon, and then I think I will probably do another 10 at least before I try and do anything different. Had some time as well. Got 10 dire wolves built, not painted yet. But I was away for a week or so with work this month, so it gave me something to do whilst I was there at the hotel. So and I find it a lot easier to take sort of building stuff away rather than painting stuff. I find like without a decent light and stuff, painting becomes quite challenging. So just took the dire wolves away, got the box built. Obviously it's a Sigmar box. It only comes with 1 doom wolf, and I do kind of intend to run probably 2 units of 5, and if I've got the points, I'll give them both doom wolves. So any suggestions on how I turn the second half of dire wolves and give them a doom wolf will be greatly received. And then last but not least, I've built some vortexes. I've played a few games now where my spiritual vortex for the vampire counts has been represented by a shiny green template, one of those plastic ones from ages ago, which is fine in terms of game mechanics, and obviously it's quite useful if you move over it and things like that. But actually, I put a lot of time and effort into trying to make these vampire counts look really, really good, and I think it would be a shame for not representing the spells they're casting in as equally cool manner. So I've picked up a box of the Ossiarch Bone Reaper's Endless Spells. There's 3 vortexes I think my list really is going to use, and that's the Column of Crystal, that's the Spiritual Vortex, and that's Phantasmagoria. And they're 2 big blast template size and 1 small blast template size. So the 3 spells that come in the Bone Reaper's box, I think, is a really cool little representation of those models, and I think it's going to look cooler than the templates. So yeah, I'll get those painted up as well soon. I think I really need to focus on getting the army done first, but I wanted to get them built so I could start using them and just make sure they kind of work on in the game. Yeah, so we'll go from there. As I say, next month should be more skeletons. I'm not sure what I'll do after I've done some more skeletons, and we'll see where I'm at time wise. And yeah, that's my update for May. In terms of a voting on the name of the zombie dragon for Alicia von Carstein, we are Shroud is currently winning the vote. Remember, the 3 names were Necraxis, Siren Tame, and Shroud. Shroud is just ahead, with Necraxis in second place and Siren Tame in last place. So if you want to have an input into what I call the zombie dragon for Alicia von Carstein, please do drop us a message or comment or whatever, and let us know, and we'll put those votes together and see what comes out on top. After I've done that, I will be asking our viewers to name some other units and models in the army. So if you've got any suggestions for things like names of skeleton units or direwolf units, or the Terrorgeist, who is now done, should probably have picked the Terrorgeist first, really, but name for the Terrorgeisters, do also comment that below, and we'll take that on board.
As of recording, it is Tuesday morning, and I am currently 3.5 days out from my next event, which is the Squarebase GT coming up this Saturday. As always, I have painted not all of my army, so that's what this week is going to be. This was less being ill-prepared and more just being really busy. 2 weeks ago, I was at an event. Last weekend, I was at a stag do, so this is very much a case of just, it's time to do things and fit them in as you can. So, I'm a batch painter. I like to batch paint by putting base colours on everything, then doing a good grimy wash, get a nice, not necessarily Blanchitsu style, but I do like going for like a more realistic grimy look, and that is something that I try to achieve, especially with like a tabletop finish on my army. So here are going from, I guess, worst to best, starting off with the goblins. The goblins are about half base coated, still very sloppy, hoping to get those finished up tonight. If you're watching the podcast on the main channel, you may see me painting them, because that's probably something that I need to do. I just don't have time to sit down for 2 hours and not be doing something productive right now. Then I've got the ball boys. The ball boys are pretty much base coated. In fact, I think they're fully base coated. So got a couple of them on the screen here, a couple of shots of them. The goal is basically just get them done. Get them done, get them washed, do some detailing on them. I'd love to do some like checker patterns on the banner. I've never really freehanded checker patterns before. I don't think it would be too hard to do just like an alternating double strip of black, either black and white or black and red, depending on how long I like, how easy I find it to do along the top of the banner. I don't know if I'm going to have time. That's going to be very much like a Friday night job if I get around to it. I'd love to have that on, but if I don't get there, I don't get there. It is what it is. Otherwise, really nice models, actually. Same with the Goblin Wolf Riders. When I looked at the pictures, I thought, God, these look really dated. And actually having the plastic models, building them up, I think they're not bad. Like, the Goblin proportions are surprisingly good. The hands are not as cartoonishly large as I thought they were going to be. The Ball Boys, I think are actually really good models. By standard of fantasy plastic, everything's a little more aged. I think it might just be the paint jobs on them, because they were painted so long ago and heavy metal standards have, improved. I think maybe that the reason they look dated on the, the Games Workshop art is just that they've got an old paint job on them. So really pleased with those. However, for the goblins, I wanted them to look a bit more naff than they actually do. So I've gone for a drab green and a brown. Again, going for like sort of natural tones, but also I thought that's a colour combination that's going to look quite dated, and definitely a vibe that I want to go with. Otherwise, you could just go with like, a nice mix of browns. You could go light brown, dark brown, or something like that. But I think a drab green and a brown is going to look suitably, almost suitably 90s, I think, which is what I was going for. And then the piece de resistance, the thing that I've been spending the most time on, that was something that I've done before I went away for the stag, or started at least, and I wrapped up yesterday. But I've got 3 Black Orc Chariots. I'm sure I will pop those up successively on the screen as and when. But these were incredible fun to make, as sort of hinted at by the intro, which I should not have spent as much time editing as I did. But I've taken models from AOS 40k and also from Old World, combined them into just, one kit to use for my Black Orc Chariots. So there's the Orc Trucks, 40k Orc Trucks. I also used a bit of the 40k Orc Battle Wagon, because I had one kicking about that was just, hadn't seen tabletop play in 15 years probably. May as well do something with it. The wheels, some of the wheels came from the truck, some of the wheels came from a Orc mech gun, I think it was. Very much just pulling apart bits of stuff. Orcs are fantastic for kit bashing. Definitely going to have make a video on that going down the line, actually, because I'm really enjoying kit bashing. I want to talk about that. But so 40k bits, trucks, mech guns, battle wagons, took the sort of like stable back parts. At the front, you've got the Gore Grunter. This one is the easiest bit. Basically, all I did was assemble it and make the riders look a little bit more old-worldy. So I changed out the heads, changed out the weapons, made sure that they've got those iconic Black Orc weapons and heads. They do still look a little bit more modern, but I think they blend together quite nicely. And then on the back, I've just got plastic Black Orcs. That's nice and easy. It's jobs are good. And to be fair, I did actually extend. So one of them's got a lance of sorts with some Black Orc single-handed, one-handed weapon axe heads on. So like a 3-pointed spear. One of them's got an extended handled axe it's not axe, sorry, the big spiked bludgeony mace, I guess you'd call it. I wanted to have a mace, but also make sure that it looked like it was a two-handed weapon instead of just, having, I've got a mace in each hand, and then you get to the tabletop and you go, oh yeah, by the way, everyone's got great weapons. But he doesn't look like it. Yeah. So he's holding his hand weapon, because they all get hand weapons, but he's also got a big mace with enough handle that makes it very clear that it is, swinging with two hands. And I think the third one was actually a little bit more standard. That might have been the first one I did. But yeah, had a huge amount of fun with those. Definitely going to talk a bit more about kit bashing in the future. Also got some jeweler's chain on there as well, just to make the attaching bit, more, instead of just going, here's a bit of plastic that I've glued between the two. One of them's got a ladder from a truck. One of them's got, I think, just like a little bit of round plastic, and then I covered it up with the armor from a drum from one of the Black Orcs. I can't remember what I did with the third one, but they've all been attached in ways to either, not draw attention to the attaching, because it's fine and it looks okay, but it's not the most exciting part. Yeah, that's about it for where I'm up to. As for what I've got, I've still got the Black Orc Chariot that is fully built, the one that I made out of the Moor Grunter, the bigger pig. So that's going to be my Black Orc BSB Big Boss. So it's going to be very visually different to the 3 Black Orc Chariots which don't have a character on, which I think is fun. And I've also got, oh yeah, I'll bring them up now, the Shaman, Orc Shaman, also super in the just like quick and dirty base coat stage. I'm going to give that a wash and then go from there. I should probably talk about what I've done. So I make my own washes for batch painting. And when I say washes, I make my own wash. I started doing it thanks to the Sandstone Necron video that, you know, popped up a good 5-6 years ago, something like that. But in there, the guy doing the video recommended your own wash, and it's a mix of like a little bit of PVA glue, a little bit of oh god, what is in there? It's, I think, like ink, maybe? It might be an ink wash. But yeah, I just made like a huge batch of it, and then you can, depending on the size of the model, you can dip them or you can paint them. I'm not as big a fan of dipping. It is surprisingly as much work to get them, you know, stop the residue from pooling, so I typically just brush paint them. But it's a heavier wash than just a brown wash, which is why you get like a nice dirty effect, and also sort of ties things together quite nicely as well. Really dulls things down where you need them to. But yeah, that's where I'm up to. I have got podcasting tonight. Probably, yeah, I think I'm doing something every evening, so it'll be interesting to see how I get everything done. But as always, I'm sure I will do. The trick is just to sacrifice sleep. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you for the next one.